Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a good week. A few people have asked for my opinion on the face-off between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. As I've said before, I did the previous little tete-a-tete they had. I made a video on that, and as I said then, it's very difficult to read a lot in because you can only sort of speculate. There's very rarely anything that's really evident. I mean, one of the exceptions to that would be, say, the first Groves-Froch face-off, which I thought was, and the second one actually, they both revealed, because you could compare and contrast them, and they both revealed, quite a bit about where both men's heads were at. Now, bearing in mind the compare and contrast idea, I think that's the best way to approach looking at this latest face-off, because the build-up to the first fight, you don't need me to tell you that Fury was his usual bombastic self, talking a load of shite and, trying to get into Usyk's head. Fat chance of that ever happening. And, calling him a rabbit and a middleweight and just trying all those, all that dumb playground crap that worked against Deontay Wilder. But, of course, a lot of us predicted that it wouldn't work. It didn't work. Because Usyk is a mature man, a highly, highly disciplined, extremely mentally strong man who probably gets a lot of his strength from his, Christian faith. Fury himself identifies as a Christian, okay, no problem. But with Usyk, you get the impression that he lives the life. And when I say lives the life, I don't mean he doesn't smoke, drink and, fornicate and do all the rest of it. I mean that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, he lives the life. He's on it. He's on point at every sort of opportunity he gets. He will take it with both hands. He will learn, make all his mistakes out of the ring. Maybe in training, if he does make any mistakes. I mean, I'm sure he must make a few. Surely the bloke's human, but he'll do all that preparation behind closed doors. He'll discipline himself. Whereas Fury is. He's a sort of fights on raw emotion, you could say. I mean, he has a very good ring IQ. He has a very good, he's a lot of skills. He's naturally an extremely big man, of course, much bigger than Usyk. But if you compare and contrast the bombastic Fury of before the first fight, along with the rather silent Usyk, now, this time round, we have a far more demure Fury and an Usyk who is slightly, a little bit more edgy or a little bit more sinister almost. I think there's a reason why he wore that, that hitman garb with the black suit, the black gloves, red tie, little briefcase and all that, bald head. I mean, is he playing a cartoon character? I think there's some meaning behind that. And he has said to Fury, I will not leave you alone, my greedy belly friend. Now Fury seems to have, he accepts now that he can't get into Usyk's head. But that demure, respectful demeanour is not necessarily Fury's sort of default setting. And I think there was a period in this face-to-face, a little cameo where he kind of showed it. Because Fury, I think he started off by, I'd have to go and watch it again. I've watched it a couple of times, but, when you get to my age, the old grey matter ain't what it used to be. But he started off by saying, you couldn't knock me out, did you? You hit me. I mean, the guy mediating the discussion said, what about that big left hook that you landed on Fury's chin in the 9th round that put him on Queer Street, and he was spinning all around the ring like a whirling dervish that was all skin and no bones, and resulted in that standing 8. And Usyk said, perfect punch. And Fury said, but you couldn't get rid of me, could you? He jumped on it. You couldn't get rid of me, could you? Yeah. And then from then it was a short step to, I'm going to fuck you up. So he reverted to type. He reverted to that default setting. I'm gonna. He was so desperately wanting to start railing on Usyk, and of course Usyk, he knew what he was talking about. He speaks enough English to know what Fury was saying, but he just ignored him. And I think he sort of said a few words to Alex Krasik, who was there. Fury had Frank Warren there, who said a few odds and ends as well. But I thought that was interesting, that little point that Fury was like, it's almost like, okay, I've got to stay calm, And then it was simmering below the surface a little bit. As soon as it got pointed out, you were in a lot of trouble in that 9th round. He wanted to say, fuck you, so what, it doesn't matter. But he managed to just about reel it in, where he went back to being respectful. And again, there was another. I'm trying to read between the lines here, as we all are. But another question was when Fury, they played it back, the Fury's post-fight interview, and he said, well, Alexander's country is at war, and therefore, in other words, he had the sympathy vote. And the guy, the guy mediating the discussion said, do you regret saying that? And Fury said, no, why would I regret saying that? Why would I regret anything? And he kind of swerved the question a little bit. But again, he said the right thing. He sort of stuck to the script. But with the whole Fury this time around, the lead up to this, build up to this fight, which by the way is 3 weeks away now? Not even that. I just get the feeling there's something being forced, a little bit fake. Is that too strong a word? I don't know, but something a little bit unnatural about Fury. The way he's behaving, it's not coming naturally to him. Whereas Usyk, yes, he's donned the symbolic hitman outfit, but he's just as relaxed and as composed as he always is. Now, just to play devil's advocate, there was something he said, not in this face-to-face, but the previous little contretemps they had, where he was asked about the punch to the body. Did Fury's punch to the body hurt him? And he said, no. I think it did hurt him. And I know this has been said 100 times before, but I definitely think that the Achilles, not heel, but solar plexus, belongs to Usyk. I think he can be hurt to the body. And I know that, whenever people raise this, they always say, yeah, but if you look at him as an amateur, he got, flawed and with body shots and so on. And everyone says, yes, it was ages ago. Yes, it was ages ago. And it may have no relevancy, but you shouldn't just throw something out. You should always file it at the back of your mind and say, okay. Then, of course, there was the Dubois low blow that supposedly wasn't. I did think it was a low blow. Interestingly, Duke McKenzie, who is someone whose opinion I respect and who picked Usyk to beat Fury the first time around and is, as to use his phrase, 100% picking him again to beat Fury. He says that he thought that it wasn't a low blow. I heard him say that and I was quite surprised. I thought it was a low blow, but, it wasn't a great deal in it, but it was a low blow. But nevertheless, despite that, I think the key to the door for Fury might be body punches, if he's to stand any chance of slowing Usyk down and therefore being able to impose his physicality on him. I think probably he's got to start the body work very, very early, as early as he possibly can. And yes, he's going to risk getting banged on the jaw. And yes, I think, to be honest with you, I think Fury's punch resistance is, I think it's catching up with his age, if you know what I mean. But nevertheless, he's still a big man. He's still got a good ring IQ and he's still got a ton of skills. And he's a threat. I don't hold this idea that Fury is... I think he is an underdog. I picked Usyk to win the first fight, and I'll do a proper breakdown, a proper video later, close to the time, probably the week of the fight. But I do make Usyk a strong favourite this time round. But don't count Fury out. Don't forget we've counted him out before, and the guy is a genuine fighting man. He is a tough, mentally tough man, even though he's all over the place and emotionally. See, there's a difference between your emotions and your mentality, your emotions and your psyche. Yes, there's the Venn diagram, they're connected. But at the same time, you can be very, very emotional, but still be an extremely strong-willed fighter. Vinny Pazienza springs to mind. I mean, he used to fight on raw, you know, high-octane sort of energy. A lot of fun to watch. Vinny Paz used to punch himself in the face, and you know, and you really had to nail him to the floor to beat him. The only man who ever really smashed him up was the much, much bigger Roy Jones Jr. And Roy Jones Jr. was, at the time, was, if not at his peak, then very, very close to his peak. I would say that Oleksandr Usyk, is he slightly, ever so slightly over the peak? It's negligible. Although, having said that, the margin of error, the margin of difference between winning and losing at this absolute elite level is very, very slight. And I made a video, and I know G-Man has made a video, and Lee has mentioned this as well over at Inside the Distance. Yes, you know, we shouldn't neglect the possibility that Usyk may be slightly over the hill. Not over the hill, that's absolutely the wrong phrase, but slightly over his absolute prime, you know what I mean? But as far as the face-to-face goes, those were really the only things I took from it. I get a very forced, maybe unnatural is the wrong word, fake is certainly the wrong word, but a very forced impression from Fury. Whereas with Usyk, I think he's even more cold-blooded and on it than he was for the first fight, and that's saying something. I don't think he's taking it Fury lightly at all. I don't think he's thinking I've beaten him once so I can beat him again. I think he's going to be absolutely prepared for this rematch. And to be honest with you, I can't wait. And I bet you can't as well. It's going to be a good one, isn't it? Come on, let's be honest. And the card is great too. But like I say, I'll do a proper prediction video breakdown close to the time. If you've got anything you want to say now, of course, by all means, leave it in the comments. I always enjoy reading your comments. And thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, because you're helping us a great deal. And also hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for your time as always. Enjoy the rest of your week, and bye for now.